B-Marsh Boxing, what's happening, world? We back at it with another post-fight review. What a fight. What a fight over there in Manchester, UK. What a fight, man. Hold tight. Let me hear what this man Liam Smith got to say. Oh gosh, that Liverpool accent again. For some of us not from the UK, I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. This is a hard accent to comprehend, but at the end of the day, what a fight, man. Chris Eubank Jr., man. I guess this guy ain't built for the spotlight, right? Right? Look like Chris Eubank Jr. When it comes to big fights, big magnitude fights, fights where he's even favored to win. He just ain't built like that, you know what I mean? He's just not built like that. Chris Eubank Jr., man, this is a fight where I don't know what the betting odds were, but I know that the man Chris Eubank Jr. was definitely the favorite to win this fight. Liam Smith, now I didn't watch the build up too much. There was a lot of hype about, what they call controversial, what the media calls controversial as far as the remarks that Liam Smith said about the man Chris Eubank Jr. You know what I mean? But Chris Eubank Jr. is also a guy who to me, I don't know. This guy, whether it was in the build up with what's his name? Conor Ben, when he was eating chicken and all that, KFC chicken. Slim still wearing that KFC chicken jacket, basically trying to prove he can eat anything and he'll still come in and whoop some ass. And in this situation right here, when the man Liam Smith called the man gay and stuff, he tried to make fun of it, try to make the best out of it. You know what I'm saying? And basically say, look, he came in with the rainbow colored armband at the weigh-in. Chris Eubank Jr., this is a guy who's a big star in the United Kingdom, a guy who's never ever sniffed a world title before, never ever held a world title. And don't come and tell me that WBA Reggie belt he had at 168 was a real title. That's what we're not going to do. When fellas like George Groves was holding the real title at the time, or Callum Smith, you know what I mean? Chris Eubank Jr., man, gets his ass handed to him by the man Liam Smith, who himself has been a former world champion. I mean, albeit he fought for a vacant title versus that guy John Thompson, a fight that it was supposed to be possibly Liam Smith versus Austin Trout, but the WBO did some funny business in there, and they omitted the man Austin Trout from fighting for the world title. They snuck in Liam Smith versus John Thompson. So he's been a world champion, been on the biggest stage in boxing when he fought on pay-per-view versus the cash cow of boxing, Cannoli, you know what I mean? But that don't mean nothing, man. The man Liam Smith handled his business. God give it up to him. What's up, Mike 104? What the deal, my G? Mike 104 in the chat says, Rock'em Sock'em. The pest dispenser punch. Absolutely, man. Chris Eubank Jr. is a guy they try to claim got a chin, right? Like his pops. Now his pops had a chin. And that's another question I gotta ask. Where was his pops? I ain't even see his pops doing the build-up. I ain't see his pops doing this fighting. I ain't see him. Maybe y'all saw him. I didn't see him. But the Liam Smith, man, he beat the shit out of this man, Chris Eubank Jr., man. Fourth round stoppage. Swelled his eye up, you know what I mean? He had him on the ropes, just like the man Mike 104 said in the chat. The pest dispenser punch, man, was putting hands and gloves all over the man, you know what I mean? Snapped his head back with a big uppercut. You see the man, Chris Eubank Jr., eyes rolling in the back of his head, and more punches, barrage, and he goes down, knockdown, boom. He gets up. Slim kind of got the spaghetti legs. The referee let it go on, and the man, Liam Smith, just wailed on the man. Just wailed on the man and put him down twice. And that's all she wrote, y'all. The referee stops the fight. The first two rounds, was especially round one was a kind of slow round. It's a kind of round that were both feeling each other out, you know what I mean? Trying to get a feel for the fight. Excuse me, a feel out round. And I gave it to Chris Eubank Jr., but I gave everything after that. I gave it to the man, Liam Smith. I thought Liam Smith was putting his punches together, you know what I'm saying? I think Chris Eubank Jr. is an arrogant guy, and I think he was definitely not giving the man Liam Smith the respect he deserved. Now you're trying to tell me this man, Chris Eubank Jr., got a chin. His right eye was swollen almost, and this is by the third round. His right eye was swelled shut, and he couldn't even see out of that eye, you know what I mean? And he gets a thorough beating, y'all. Big, big, thorough beating. And the man, okay, Roy Jones Jr. is his trainer during the build-up. Matter of fact, just as early as yesterday, during the weigh-in and stuff, Roy Jones Jr. said that they're ready for Triple G. Now, Triple G's is definitely past his prime. He's an old dog at this stage of his career, 40 plus, still competing and, cherry picking, of course. Probably one of the main reasons why the zone is in the red, has been in the red since they came on the boxing scene, you know what I mean? As far as, the whole conglomerate of the zone, you know what I mean? They primarily known for boxing, so that's where we gonna keep it at. They've been in the red. It's because fellas like Cannoli and them been stealing money. Triple G, you know what I'm saying? But Jesus Christ, this man, Chris Eubank Jr., man, this was an embarrassing effort. If this man is not even ready for a man like Triple G, you mean to tell me that if we possibly put in a Jaime Munguia versus Chris Eubank Jr., that Jaime Munguia would put hands and gloves all over Chris Eubank Jr. Tijuana style? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Apparently, it looks so. Now I know styles make fights, but like I said, y'all, Chris Eubank Jr. just ain't built for the spotlight. Yeah, I mean, he just ain't built for the spotlight. This is his third loss of his career. First loss, of course, was to Billy Joe Saunders, where he looked ass for like the first 7 rounds, but picked up the pace, hard body the last 5 rounds, and he still lost the fight. That was his first loss of his career. Um, who was his second loss to? To George Groves. George Groves is definitely an experienced fighter, you know what I mean? A guy who himself, it took him 3 times the charm to get a world title, and he finally did. But Jesus Christ, man, what a beating this man put on the man Chris Eubank Jr. God give it up to Liam Smith. This boxing game is one of the hardest sports to predict, you know what I mean? Really and truly. I don't know anybody who really thought that the man Liam Smith was going to get this dub. You know what I mean? Nothing against him. It's just that the fact Chris Eubank Jr. is a guy who has been competing at 160 to 168. Liam Smith is kind of new to the division, you know what I mean? Liam Smith is a guy who primarily We've known him to fight at 154 pounds. You know what I'm saying? But he's not no slouch. Don't get it twisted. He puts hands and paws on fellas too. You know, he beat the shit out of Jesse Vargas. Yes, Jesse Vargas was the smaller fighter, a guy who I seen compete as low as 140 pounds. That's where he was. He first came into the game. Yeah, well, he thought that man Liam Smith was sweet. Liam Smith beat the shit out of him. You know what I mean? He stopped Anthony Fowler, another guy from England, a guy who was an Olympian. I think Anthony Fowler even won himself a gold medal or a bronze medal in was it? Oh, he's been an Olympian at least. You know what I mean? You know, he's won himself some couple, you know, at other amateur events. You know what I mean? You know, but he had a very good, close fight to me, Liam Smith versus Jaime Munguia, and that was in 2018. But might be the best name as of at actually that got to be the best name on Jaime Munguia's resume. You know, the guy Liam Williams, a guy that Chris Eubank stopped and looked impressive against. This guy Liam Smith went. He went life and death with him at least in one fight. I believe that was the second fight. The first fight, he retired him on the stool. You know what I mean? But Chris, Liam Smith does come from a boxing family. Yeah, Chris Eubank Jr. does too, but he don't come from a real boxing family as far as like coming from hardship and you know what I mean, and competing with his brothers. This man, Liam Smith, is a guy who has brothers in the fight game. Many brothers, maybe like three others. Callum Smith, of course, Peter Smith. I think they have another smaller guy who was at 135. Is this Stephen Smith? You know what I mean? Chris Eubank Jr. is a guy who came in the game privileged, kind of like Conor Ben, you know. But at this stage of his career, I should have known it was coming. I mean, Chris Eubank Jr. was getting his ass handed to him for the only round that he fought versus Matt Karabov, or was it two rounds? But Matt Karabov broke his he broke his shoulder or something, tore out the rotator cuff, and that's how he got the dub. Best name he has on his resume is James DeGale. He beat the shit out of James DeGale. God give it up to him. Rowan Cardre says he looked really sloppy. His reaction speed was off. Absolutely, man. It's like he hadn't trained or something. You know. And he's putting smut on the man Roy Jones Jr. name and his pop's name. You know what I mean? Um, Mike 104 says IBO level. That's the only strap he's ever had. That's really I don't we don't even count that in the boxing game. Still IBO level for real. Boxing learner says shout out to Eubanks. Shout out to Eubanks, man. But I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. This was a disgusting, terrible performance by man. There's no way he should be letting this junior middleweight beat the shit out of him like that, man. Swelled his eye up and all that. This guy, Chris Eubank Jr., man, he might have to just give it up. But then guess what? It's actually not over. He does have a rematch clause in this particular fight, which I'm pretty sure he's going to exercise. You know what I mean? He's going to exercise that rematch clause. But Jesus Christ, man. Why he let the man Liam Smith do that to him like that? This was a massive fight. Not only was it a massive fight, especially coming off of the controversy that happened in the fight that was supposed to happen with with Conor Ben, which was a big massive fight in the United Kingdom. Big fight. Fourth round knockout, stoppage in middleweight division. You know what I mean? Chris Eubank, he came out using his jab. and trying to, land some shots. And that was the most impressive victory to me of as far as how he handled himself. Liam Smith, how he beat the shit out of Jesse Vargas. He got on the inside and pressured the man. Yeah, I mean, and he was just all on the inside, and that's where the man Chris Eubank Jr. could and let extend his reach to let that jab go. You know what I'm saying? In round two, the man Chris Eubank Jr. was using his jab. You know what I mean? Of course, to me, he's the quicker fighter in there. You check it, and he was, he had some success in round two. You know what I mean? But the man Chris Eubank Jr. man, he ain't look good. You know what I mean? When he got rocked viciously with some big punches by the man Eubank Jr. I'm sorry, Liam Smith in round four. That's all she wrote. You know what I mean? That's where his eye got swelled up. This guy Chris Eubank Jr. man, this was a massive fight. A fight with world title implications. You know what I mean? And he's a cash cow in England. I'm not saying he's like he's one of the biggest names in the UK. I'd probably put him up there in the top three maybe in the UK as far as names. And if we're not talking about heavyweights like Joshua, maybe Dillian White, Tyson Fury, he got to be the biggest name out the UK. He's like one of the flagship stars over there on this new on Sky Sports Boxing. What's Ben Shalom's joint called? Is it called Boxer? He's one of the biggest stars over there, if not the biggest star. But Liam Smith ain't having that. And like I said, Liam Smith comes from a dedicated, disciplined family in the boxing game. His resume ain't his resume is pretty solid too. 33 wins, three losses, 20 KOs. So gotta give it up to the man Liam Smith. Very good fight, very interesting fight, build up and all that. Good competitive fight all the way through, but the fourth round, what a disaster. So can anybody explain to me in the comment section before I sign off, in the chat section, while I do this live stream, where was the Pops at? Was I think last I heard about him in the news, if I'm not mistaken, he might have been going through some financial problems, if I'm not mistaken. But I didn't see Chris Eubank Sr. at all in the build-up for this fight. Maybe somebody could let me know in the comment section where the Pops was at. Because he sure as hell needed his Pops today, man. Sure as hell needed his Pops. Like I said, he putting a whole lot of smut on the man Roy Jones Jr.'s name. I know Roy Jones Jr. got this boy prepared to handle his business in there. But unfortunately for him, he just can't duplicate what his Pops was. That's just the truth about it. He might have all the fast cars, living a good life, never been a world champion, but, has made millions in this game. That's great. That's excellent. He's actually privileged in that aspect, you know what I mean, of the boxing game. But Jesus Christ, man. How you shit the bed like that in Manchester, dogs? The Modan says Liam Smith is average. Well, Liam Smith ain't look average today in the way he stopped the man Chris Eubank Jr. I'm not going to take nothing away from Liam Smith today, y'all. That's what I'm not going to do. And one thing for sure, two things for certain. If Liam Smith is average, what does that make Chris Eubank Jr.? Liam Smith has been a world title holder in this boxing game. He could actually has a belt. He could show his kids. He could show the world right now if you ever doubt him. I've been a world champion. The man Chris Eubank Jr. can never say he's been a world champion. I mean, Mike 104 says, did Eubank have a son pass away? Maybe he can't watch anymore. He did pull Chris out of the Ben fight, right? Or am I mixing them up? Yeah, I think something like that. To that, I think that might be true. Yeah, they had a brother who passed away or something. You know what I mean? Now, as far as did Chris pull out the Ben? Did Chris pull out the Ben fight? He possibly did, but that fight wasn't going to go on with the kind of steroids a man Chris Conor Ben had in his system. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know where the pops was at, but man, this ain't look good. This is not a good look. But the good thing about it, like I said, there's a rematch clause in case the man Chris Eubank Jr. lost, and he has every right to exercise that, and I believe he will. I believe he will, man. He can't go out like this. But like I said, man, Makarabov, the Russian, was washing Eubank Jr., man, beating the shit out of him for the 2 rounds till he popped his shoulder. The 2 rounds that lasted till he popped his shoulder out the socket. You know what I mean? You check it, so you know it's crazy, man. It's crazy how the man got stopped like that. He's supposed to have an iron chin, like his pops, because he has displayed in this boxing game. I don't think he ever been on the canvas, not that I know of. I don't think he ever been on the canvas. You know what I mean? But today, Liam Smith ain't having that, man. He came to show him what a Liverpoolian from a boxing family handles his business in Manchester. As an underdog, a guy coming up in weight. Please hit the thumbs up when you come in this piece. Hit the thumbs up, y'all. The man handled his business, man. And, Chris Eubank Jr., I couldn't hold up. He was getting his head rocked like on some, you know, his eyes rolling in the back of his head. Definitely a big W for the man, Liam Smith. Can't wait to see the rematch. I know Chris Eubank Jr. gonna exercise that. There's no way he doesn't. He can't go out like that, man. And you never know. This the boxing game, man. Sure enough, he got stopped. But just like in the fights that Liam Smith had with Liam Williams. The first fight, he stopped him. The second fight was a close fight when he could have gone either way, a majority decision W for Liam Smith. You never know. Chris Eubank Jr. might come in a rematch, handle his business, and might finally get that world title opportunity that he's been longing for. I mean, but B Marsh Boxing, I'm about to sign off. Oh, some more stuff in the chat. AJ07 says, what's up, AJ07? He says, what a thrilling match. Both fighters put on a great show and gave it their all. The winner truly deserved the victory, but the losing fighters should hold their head high for their impressive performance. Yeah, I don't think Chris Eubank Jr. could hold his head high after this, man. There's no way. No way. I don't, I, you know, I get where you're coming from, you know what I mean? And both guys are combatants in this pugilistic sport. Gotta give it up to both of them, no doubt. But at the end of the day, man, there's no way the man Chris Eubank Jr. could walk out with his head high and not feel embarrassed. I feel more embarrassed for Roy Jones Jr., the legend. This dude, Chris Eubank Jr., putting smut on his name, making him look like he's a bullshit trainer. You know what I mean? Not granted, the man Roy Jones Jr. He never had a world champion in his stable. And I don't know he's never had really a fighter he's brought up from a pop into a world title or a champion. I've seen him in the corners of guys like Jean Pascal and of course Chris Eubank Jr. and maybe some other guys I'm forgetting at this moment. But damn, man, Roy Jones Jr. As far as I don't know, I can't call it, man. In the game, this who was a better fighter on the inside, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, all it takes is one big home run, touchdown, knockout punch that could change the fight in an instant. And that's what we got today in that fourth round. Yeah, I mean, So big ups to everybody in the chat. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up on your way in, on your way out. Salute to everybody. AJ107, Mike 104. Uh, is it the Moden? Um, Boxing Learner, of course. Salute to you. Rowan Kadri. He said he looked sloppy. His reaction. Yeah, I read that one already. Big ups to everybody in the chat. All right. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Please leave your thoughts and comments. And I'm gone. Peace.